Guess what, Leslie?
Yeah.
1,000 people have read the newsletter already this morning, and I've only got one unsubscribe because the guy said he didn't know why he had signed up for this thing in the first place.
So, well, they weed themselves out.
I was just hoping that people would unsubscribe. It hasn't happened, I mean, I called the commissioner today.
Man, it's almost like you're onto something.
I know, absolutely. Dr. Brent Ringo is here. We were talking earlier about places that smell bad, and I grew up in an area that was dominated by chickens at the time.
Love that.
The worst one, though, was turkeys. Free-range turkeys in large sort of pens is disgusting.
Well, even chickens. All together have a distinct
and that was the day. Those were the days before they actually said, you know what, we probably should cover these things up, and not make them so smelly. And then dairy cattle. Dairy cows were pretty bad.
Methane.
But Brent grew up, and they kind of said they had a positive attitude about this in Amarillo. It's the smell of money. That smell of never-ending cow feces was there.
Yeah. Lubbock has the same problem.
Lubbock has the same problem.
They do. Both cities do.
There's you're there because you can smell it.
I've said it before. I've lived every place I've lived pretty much has always smelled bad. Hemet, California, where we grew up, smelled terrible. Bakersfield, California, where we lived for about 7 years, terrible. I mean, the worst smell you could ever possibly imagine. The worst smell is baby carrots, by the way. And then we lived in Greeley, Colorado, where they have a rendering plant where they take the critters from Amarillo and they cut them up into sirloin. And if they don't get it done, they render down the fat and all the other stuff, and it smells lovely. And feedlots like
lovely.
This. This is why I like Kerrville.
Yeah,
it doesn't smell bad here. It smells sweet, and it's just a nice place to be. But Brent has been coming here for years, and he saw this position. Now, Did you look, or did someone approach you? How does that work for a superintendent?
There's both ways. Yeah. For this one, I've been in my prior role for 5 years, and my kids, my goal being to get back in a one high school community for my children selfishly, and
which is pretty rare.
Very rare.
Pretty rarely anymore.
Yep.
So.
Very rare, and I had looked about once a month to see what's out there, and. When I saw Kerrville open up, and there were, working with the board, there was a headhunter, and when I saw it, told my wife, "Hey, we've been going there. We're actually going there for spring break. I'm putting in for this role to see what happens." And
did she have any hesitation at all? Did she say, "Well, no, I like Target"?
She did say she loves the Metroplex. However, she also saw that the excitement for our kids and our family to be here, and that. The support in this community is
and she's not that far from just everything.
That's right.
She's only 45 minutes from the outside of San Antonio.
And if there's a store not here,
and that's like driving in the Metroplex just 5 miles.
That's right. If there's a store not here, Amazon delivers pretty quickly.
Go.
So
exactly. It's funny how that works out. But I mean, you are now in a position though. I mean, and you're probably one of the youngest superintendents in the district's history. Of coming here from a significant, you were in Garland, you've been at Allen, which is like the largest high school in America right now, and then you've got
Highland Park,
and then you're in Royce City.
The high school principal, Royce City,
which is on the verge of probably having a second high school at some point.
Yes,
so you were in all those areas where there's explosive growth as well. Here in Kerrville, we're not seeing that growth as well for several reasons, but. How did that experience in the Metroplex sort of inform how you're going to lead this district?
Great question. Highland Park and Allen, comparable to Kerrville in the aspect landlocked, no growth, absolutely zero growth there, and so it's really we have limited resources, meaning we're funded at the same revenue levels from 2019, and as we heard Andrew speak earlier, there's been inflation. Insurance costs increased, tires have increased, the price of eggs have increased.
Everything.
And so it's really working with our team to allocate our resources for demands that have greatly increased in the years. And so, working with our board of trustees, our principals, our teachers, and in identifying what we can do for our students and laying out and growing on that vision that has been here and that history that's been here too.
Right. I mean, one of the things you're talking about too, and it's very interesting, is that I feel like, every school district in Texas is even in the nation really, is in this sort of crossroads where funding is an issue. The legislature is going to roll back property taxes, but they're going to take their surplus and give you a chunk of that money for a year. And then what happens? Is there going to be? Are you concerned about the next, year 2 and 3, as the budget kind of works itself out?
Absolutely, yeah. There's about a $63 billion surplus, $30 billion at the state level, and then $33 billion in the rainy day fund. And as of right now, public education is the only one that has not seen an increase in revenue for the students or employees.
Yeah.
And so, the House Republicans voted to increase funding for public education, and the Senate Republicans voted not to. And so it's a sustainability, obviously at the state level, to maintain those lower tax rates, because as we've paid more in taxes in the years to our local school districts, the state on the back end has taken away that money that they've given school districts.
Right.
And so it's having those open conversations and educating our stakeholders how the system works on the formula funding, and really hoping and contacting our state reps to put more money into the system.
Advocating.
Yes,
Yeah.
advocating.
Because the
for it.
challenge is that not only that, but it's this trickle down thing where you've got also teachers that are leaving the profession, and again, not just in Texas, this is national, everywhere. And states now are looking at extraordinary efforts to kind of retain teachers or to bring in new teachers, but they're just saying, I'm out.
Yep.
And in this situation too, salaries are just not where they need to be, right? Where should a starting teacher, in your perfect dream, what should the starting salary of a teacher be?
That's a very good question. For starting salary for a teacher, obviously you have to look at the area, the housing cost, the living expenses in that area, and if we could, and we were able to, I would hope to push starting teacher salaries across the state up to $80,000 to $90,000, just because to buy a house, or even rent an apartment, it is very, very challenging with what we've seen in Texas, and not just Texas.
It's
and as you
everywhere.
noted, it's not just our teachers. Our teachers are our most valuable resource. I mean, in front of the students every single day, but beyond our teachers, custodial staff, bus drivers, our maintenance staff, administrative. The shortage is not just in Texas. The shortage is across the entire country right now.
I was trying to get a buddy of mine. I said, you should retire. He's a Californian guy. I said, you should retire, and you should come here and take your retirement and retire, but you still have 10 years of teaching here, and you get another retirement. He's like, yeah, but I got to wait 5 more years, and for him, it made financial sense. But I mean, the truth of the matter is that, like you said, one of the most sobering things I think I've ever heard, I can't remember, it was your predecessor, Jared Jahadi, saying something like, we can't even be competitive with the fast food restaurants for food workers at this point, which is starting $14, $15 an hour. I mean, so you have gaps everywhere you have to meet to serve the students. It's not just, like I said, teachers either. The other challenge too is that the state seems determined to, at least the Republican leadership seems determined to put in place vouchers. Coming in September or maybe early October, you'll get your sort of your school grades assessments, which they changed the policy on everybody kind of mid process. So no one really knows how they're going to land. Everyone knows that they're going to be probably not very good. The message is going to be what for KISD? How do you manage that?
That is, sharing and telling our story of the great things happening in the district. Because as you mentioned, the grades are actually changing after the fact. And so there are going to be schools that actually have improved in all areas or even maintained, but their grade will actually drop, even a full letter grade.
Right.
And so there's that piece of helping our stakeholders understand, things have not gotten worse. In fact, academic scores are higher than they were pre-COVID. So we've now exceeded that. Graduation rates across the state are higher than they were pre-COVID also. And when you speak of vouchers,
that is something you don't hear about.
You don't hear about that. It's not proudly
it's
displayed
good
across
to hear
the
it
state
right now. Yeah.
And but the graduation rates have exceeded where they were pre-pandemic, and our test scores also. And with the voucher piece, there's about $600 million allocated in the state budget right now. It's not been approved because there are, the House Republicans want to increase funding to support public education. The Senate Republicans do not, and that's where the vouchers come in.
Right.
And there's about $600 million allocated for about 40,000 private school students. And so as a taxpayer that you're paying your taxes for, there's no public meeting where you can go to. There's no PI request you can get on how those funds are spent.
Yeah.
And so if those funds do leave the system, it is now the burden of the taxpayers to help fund private schools.
And in Oklahoma, they just released this, and there's now going to be a publicly funded Catholic school.
Yep.
And people are already suing over that. I'm one that thinks that private schools, I think, should get some funding to help with some things. I think that there is some, but to give money for tuition and all this other stuff when you have a free system in place, it just seems contrary to our republic. I don't know.
Yeah, there's choice now as a parent. There's your public schools, your charter schools, and private schools, and taxpayers can show up to any board meeting of a public entity, ask for information. All our information we do post on our website as far as budget and how that money is spent. It's reported to the state, to every single penny, and to our stakeholders. We have to.
Yeah.
And so, Arizona, the model here for the voucher proposal is based off Arizona's model, and it's been in place for about a year, and the person running that system just resigned because of misallocation of funds with private schools. And so, the accountability piece remains to be unknown, but it does put taxpayers on the hook to subsidize private school tuition. And private school tuition can range anywhere from as minimal as they want to charge up to
as much as they want to charge.
Well, it creates a headache for everything too, because we have this. I think Texas does a really good job. For instance, like with UIL, as just an example. To me, charter schools are. I'm going to have 10 kids at charter school. We're going to have the Lewis Amosway Basketball Academy, similar to what IMG Academy is in and then that's publicly funded.
Yep.
Which is basically. How does that work? In this age,
it opens up to where somebody could come in and say, I'm going to create a athletic academy.
Yeah.
And they recruit kids in, and the focus is mainly athletics, and there's no accountability to the taxpayer on that aspect. And there are great private schools, and so please know I'm not saying private schools are bad.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why you go to them, and you pay for them, for the services they provide.
Right.
And those private schools as a whole do not accept every kid.
Right.
And we and I'm proud to say this, we accept and will educate every single child from special education to GT, and support every single child in that process.
And I always look at it too, like, here's a football analogy. I think it was Allen or one of the big schools and that usually is in contention for a state championship in Texas, played St. John Bosco, which is from Bellflower, California, and got absolutely crushed, like 65-0 basically. And it was like, look at how powerful California's football is. I'm like, no, timeout. That's BS, because that's an all-star team.
All recruited to go to
that school from the largest metropolitan area, the second largest metropolitan area in the country. You can draw from all of Los Angeles County, Orange County, and the Inland Empire there. And so that's such an unfair comparison, but that's where we seem to be gravitating towards. It's like, well, of course you're going to have the best kids. Yeah. Now, I think the thing that's interesting about this, and I've talked about this a little bit before, because we had these kids come here and work at Pine Plow. If Tybee is like so bad as a high school, then why did four of the in the last 2 years, 4 members of the basketball program, the boys basketball program, get into UT, and not only get into UT, but get into the Macomb School of Business as freshmen.
Right.
You went to UT.
Macomb's started out at West Point.
Yeah.
Ended up getting a medical discharge, transfer UT, business major at UT, and it's a great, I think ranked in top 5 of business schools in the country.
But you had 4 kids, who are athletes, who get in. One's going in as an honors student already. So something's going on. Something's right.
There's a lot of great things.
Yeah.
When you look at the high school, not just the academic side, but we have 12 career technology pathway certification programs. We have students who can graduate with their private pilot license.
Right.
Dual credit courses. But yes, they're the perception across the state of, and that's why I believe those letter grades are changing to go down, So that argument can be, hey,
Right.
look, our school scores have declined.
Are failing.
But when you look at the data of, okay, percent-wise, what changed from last year to this year, and they've actually increased
Right.
or maintained in most school districts across the state.
Yeah.
It allows that perception to be, it's negative or it's
Right.
bad. And so my goal and my vision is really telling our story and the positives that come along with that, because
when you have everything to back it up,
there are
you have
great,
the receipts.
yes, and there are great things happening, and we have amazing educators.
Yeah, because
in
You
KIC.
do. You do.
I mean, there's no. I mean, one of the things it's a challenge I think for you is that for the last few years, there's been struggles at the middle school level in math and some other places. And Peterson will probably have a pretty low score. But does that mean that there's not success happening at Peterson? Of course not.
No. And across the state, to share that, middle school scores across the state, due to the design, in my belief, of the assessment of STAR and the company that designs that, middle school scores across the state have been the lowest.
Yeah.
Not just at Peterson, but when you look at comparison,
Yeah.
comparably,
Everywhere.
we're performing just as well
Just
or
on
better
par.
than other middle schools.
Yeah.
But if you look at the percent score and not understand, hey, across the state, it's low. And a lot of that, it's $1 billion business
Right.
when you look at testing.
Right.
And when I say $1 billion business, not for school districts,
Yeah.
No,
for the
it's-
companies that run
that
it.
run the
Right.
testing.
Right.
Yeah.
Brent Ringo is with us here. He's the superintendent of schools at Kerrville Independent School District. He's now into his, fourth month on the job. School starts August 14th. Where are you going to be on the first day of school?
I'm going to be everywhere. I'm
Man.
going to start out at
It's going
elementaries,
to be a
middle
lot
schools.
of coffee
Yeah.
for you
A
that
lot
day,
of
my
coffee.
friend.
So my
Yeah.
days have been starting about 5:30 in the morning at central office, and I'll be at campuses, and our team too, just to show that support and visibility.
Yeah.
We're going to be on campuses all week long, and not just that week through the school year, but it's and things are already going. Band has been outside from 8 a.m. to 4
God bless
p.m.
them.
every
God
single
bless them.
day.
Yeah. Is it true that Jared Jihadi can drive a school bus? Is that true? Is he a bus driver?
He is, and so am I.
Are you?
I used to, yes. So as a teacher and coach, required to get that CDL.
Yeah.
Mr. Jihadi, I believe his license is expired because there's yearly updates,
Yeah.
and mine is expired too. However, having the initial training, able to go back and get that license if needed. But yes,
Yeah.
he is a certified bus driver.
See, now, if
That's
you have
pretty cool.
But if you have a CDL, though, and if you get like a toxic waste,
Drive anything.
you could drive. You could drive up to West Texas and take produced water and dump it somewhere. So,
Yep.
yeah, there
Yep.
you go. I got all the ideas for you guys. So, the other question for you is that we are seeing extensive cultural battles now on curriculum, on education. One of the things I thought was interesting is that under state law now, current state law in Texas, you can't talk necessarily about the Doyle School, B.T. Wilson. I feel this way, and Florida is of course leading the way in this conversation because apparently they're going to teach that slavery was beneficial to some people, and which is just unbelievable to think about, but. You're facing these battles too. We've seen it over the last year. It was a significant campaign issue. You've had people here calling your staff members pedophiles, things like that. So how do you deal with that part of it? Because that's also very wearing on teachers and parents and staff.
It is. Yeah, there's a lot of stress and challenges due to perceptions. And, education is left up to the state level, meaning the state of Texas has the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, the TEA, Texas Education Agency. The commissioner is appointed by our governor. And so what is taught in our schools is outlined by the state of Texas.
Right.
And so, when you hear the words woke or hear those type of items, there might, just as any profession, there could be an employee somewhere who does something they're not supposed to do, but as a whole, 99.9% of educators are doing what they're supposed to be doing with the TEKS. And that challenge of hearing that at the state, and Florida's completely separate, different education system from Texas. And so what they're teaching there is not being taught in Texas schools because that narrative and agenda is controlled by our governor. And so it's being able to tell our story, inviting our parents, our stakeholders into our campus, doing stuff like this with y'all, and being able to share the positives that are happening and putting it out there so parents to see, and inviting stakeholders into our schools because our schools are community schools.
Exactly.
Right, and the broader story of that too. I mean, I think it's really, one of the things that I think is fascinating is that KISD, for instance, when it comes to like dealing with racial issues, historically, has either tried to do the right thing, struggled with it from the community, pushing back against it, and then come back around to desegregating schools in 1963, and then honoring B.T. Wilson by naming a school after him, which is an important thing for a lot of people in the community. And then we've determined that your new principal, and tell Ms. Peterson, tell me her name again.
Oh yes, amazing lady. She's hit the ground running. Her name is Dr. Sunny Mouton. She was a middle school principal prior to joining us, and in May when she met the staff, the relationships. I mean, she's all about supporting our staff, relationships, creating systems. But she is just a truly amazing leader and person.
Right. And and the historic part of this too is that first black administrator in this district since B.T. Wilson, and the first female black administrator since Annie Doyle, who founded the Doyle School. So it's going to be it's an amazing time. We're starting to see some movement, some change of some things, and some new blood coming here to inspire students.
Good. Yeah, there's a lot of success in KISD. There's a lot of great employees. Like I said, me joining the team, Mr. Jihadi, Ms. Ingstrom, outstanding employees. Our principals.
Yeah.
So we're building on that success and going. I like to use the words, the analogy. We're good in a lot of things and great in a lot of things, but the things we're good at, we're going to get great at.
Now, shockingly, Wade Ivey, who I thought was like 35, left to go back to New Braunfels, where he and his wife are from, and for good reason. He'd been here for 29 years. I'm like, what the? I go, were you like 19 when you started teaching here? I'm like, what is this? But now you got to replace that, or organization. You're going to do something differently. Do you have any ideas how you're going to make that work?
We do. In fact, just to speak great on Mr. Ivey. He's been here 29 years. His dad lives in New Braunfels. Yeah. His wife's parents are from New Braunfels. And I talked to him yesterday, actually. He's getting to see his dad more than he ever has. And so I'm excited for him. Hate that we lost him. But we have that position posted. Doing interviews soon. And the goal is to have somebody named this month in that role. That way, as we get the ground started for the school year, we have leadership to help us carry things forward.
Yeah. Very cool.
That leadership question is always a big one for me too. Like, I've always been dealt with like, people. I've been around managers like I fire everybody, like, and I always look at it from when I go into a place where I have staff, I try my best to work with what I've got and deal with. And help them be successful, which is what I'm like. And I remember I had a situation where I was replacing an editor, and the publisher was like, "Get rid of that guy." I'm like, "You're a fool. That guy needs to stay with me." And it was a great relationship, a great partnership as well. And I was dependent on him, and he liked working for me, and it worked out pretty well. So, I mean, those are some of the things that you have to kind of learn through the process as well. Yeah.
And I'll just highlight on that, I think the roles I've been in and experience that same philosophy. We have people in their roles that are great. I'm all about relationships and growing the people we have because everybody has strengths. And so coming into Kerrville ISD, I'll use an analogy. We were driving in Kerrville with my family, my boys, my wife. In the middle of the day, as you know, there's deer everywhere. Yeah. We had to stop for the deer on a residential street.
And they will also stop at the four ways. Yes. So you have to all wait until your turn.
They're not worried about you at all.
Oh, no.
And we stopped, and then all of a sudden we heard a big thunk on the side of my wife's car. And I thought, what in the world was that?
The deer hit you.
The deer hit us, and we weren't even moving.
I can't even tell you how many times that's happened to me.
And Brody, my 9-year-old, said, "Dad, that was awesome." And his next statement was, and no joke, this is before he even knew we were moving here. He said, "I want to move here." And so I use that analogy to let our teams know, hey, I am not the superintendent that's a deer coming in to hit the side of your vehicle. And people think, what in the world
What
just
was that?
happened? And so it's, my first 90 days, I've done a listening tour of what do we keep doing, what do we start doing, and what do we stop doing. And those themes are going to drive and have been driving our discussions to build on our vision of working and supporting our kids.
I want to bring over Jerry, who's damaged, but she's going to hobble over here in a minute and sit over here, Jerry, if you get a chance. The other question for you is, and this will be our last question for you, but you know, why education? Here you are, you go to West Point. You said you had a medical discharge, obviously, which has got to be disappointing because West Point's a great life-changing experience, which means you have to do a lot of math and science and things like that too. And you come home, you go to UT, and you go to the business school, and then you go into education. What were you thinking?
What was I thinking? No, I can tell you what I was thinking. I have a lot of family that are educators, from maintenance staff to teachers. Two of my nieces are third grade teachers. Cousins that are teachers, had basketball coaches, had football coaches.
So it's in your
aunts,
blood.
uncles. And so growing up, my mom has 9 brothers and sisters.
Oh my gosh.
4 of them were educators. Their kids are educators. So and I just said, I'm not going to do that. Right. And so when I got to UT, interned at Arthur Anderson before they crashed with Enron. And, the private sector and that part of it that I was in was really more about billable hours and how many relationships can you develop to get money.
Right.
No meaning, in my opinion, behind that aspect for me in my life.
It wasn't fulfilling.
It was not fulfilling. And so I got back to UT that summer and went to my advisor at the business school at McCombs and said, hey, I don't want to do this. I want to go in education. I had great teachers growing up. I had coaches. I'm still friends. A lot of them are my mentors. And now that I'm doing my role, and they always remind me, don't ever forget where you came from. And so UT said, hey, we'll get you the classes you need to get certified. Stay in the business school, because you can always have that route too.
Right.
And I'm glad I did, because that opened up the door for my dissertation on school finance and having the background of finance and looking at equity in school funding, and really having discussions of how we align our goals to budget. But that is how I ended up doing what I'm doing, because I wanted to have an impact with kids, and every decision we make has a ripple effect.
Right.
And knowing we're going to impact our students and our teachers, our community, and really building on those relationships. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now.
All right. Final question, and then we're gonna go to Jerry. Will the Manning kid start for Texas?
I do not believe so. I believe it's going to be Ewers. And one quick neat fact. I'm going to share. My brother played at Texas, 87 through 91.
Wow.
Was a free safety there too.
Yeah.
And but I do not believe Manning will start. I believe it's going to be Ewers, and Manning is going to get some strength and weight on his body and learn the system, so he's set up for success instead of being thrown into the jungle, as you might say.
Right.
And give Ewers a chance to kick things off for the season.
So he was in that era where he had the gigantic shoulder pads and everyone wore half shirts too. That was the glory days of football.
Bring it back.
You are 100% correct. And the AstroTurf with the cement directly underneath it.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I watched a throwback game on the Red River Shootout one time. It was from the early '80s, and I was like, they're playing the Cotton Bowl, with the AstroTurf, and that game's hot. Since it's during the state fair. And I thought to myself, how many of these guys, you're watching it and you're becoming increasingly uncomfortable thinking, that guy's got a concussion, that guy's got a concussion, because you had to land, on the turf. So, not good.
Well, my brother, to share that story, compared to safety precautions we take today, not just at the college level, but the high school level with our kids.
Yeah.
They were playing Arkansas, and he was on a safety blitz. Brian Jones, defensive end, was All-American, was also coming around the other side. Brother was going down to pick up the ball. They collided, knocked my brother out cold, laying on the ground. They stopped the game for about 10 minutes. He stood up. I'm thinking he's done the rest of the game. Well, what happens? He's back in.
Get back in there.
That does not happen anymore.
Different time.
Get back in there.
Different time.
Yeah, that's like the days like Earl Campbell would have nearly killed 15 guys on the way to the end zone, shirt ripped off. Probably had 4 concussions at the time, but didn't even matter.
Yep.
So good. Well, not good, bad, but
that's why we talk about CTE now.
That's right. The good news here is that we have Jerry Mangnall with us as well, and she is the PTO president at Hal Peterson Middle School. How are you?
I'm great.
What don't you do?
I don't know how to answer that. I do a lot.
You do
I have a lot of hats.
Right, you have a lot of hats.
I do. And I'm happy to have them also.
You are. I'm glad that you're, because we always find you, either you're selling real estate for Lower 4, or you're helping out this kid over here of yours, Hayden, or you're doing her theater stuff.
Yes.
And you're answering your phone,
Yes,
so you're already
sorry.
busy. And then you're doing the PTO work. But you have a big thing coming up, and this is a big thing that we do every year, is this is the Support Our Spikes effort for Hal Peterson. What do we got going on with this? You have the copy of this?
I have my own copy,
Yeah.
but I know most of them. Goodness, somebody's trying to reach me. Sorry.
It's probably Lower 4.
Probably.
She's probably telling you to
Hey,
sit up.
Laura. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
right.
right.
Sit up, right.
Yes. Wearing the wrong shirt today.
Yes.
No, our fundraiser, yes. Hal Peterson is a passion of mine. And Dr. Ringo hit the nail on the head, and we're so happy to have him on board with KISD because it's all about the kids. It's all about the teachers. It's all about retention. It's all about the humans in the buildings and what they're doing. And we, as a PTO especially, I can really only speak for myself, but I know this translates to the middle school, the high school, the elementary schools. The PTO is there to support as well. And so that is what we do. So this fundraiser that we do at Hal Peterson, this is our second year to support our spikes, is a big one, and it's really a pass the hat. We kind of got away from all the stuff that no one wants to do once they hit middle school. They don't want to knock on doors. The kids don't want to sell anything. The parents don't want to buy anything. But we have just
Who sold candy in the schools?
I mean,
Yeah. Wait, what was the dumbest thing when it sold in the schools? Did you? We sold Christmas ornaments one year.
Wrapping paper.
Wrapping paper.
It
Really?
was never good quality.
Yeah.
It was just,
What
It
about
also
you?
seems like it's setting you up for a failure. We sold candy bars.
Yeah.
The chocolate bars,
Yeah.
like the what is it? The World Royal ones.
The world's finest.
That ones,
I
yeah,
think
we
they
did
still sell
those.
I
Candy
think, some of the
bars
Isn't
for
that
me.
wild? There's
Yeah.
probably just all made at the same time.
Yeah.
They probably just don't age. Whatever's in there.
forever.
But my mom was a PTO mom, and she was the candy lady. She did the candy sales on Friday, and everybody's that was like only the coolest thing about me. During that time, but I used to help her, and but she was like everybody loved when my mom was around because she was the candy lady, and they all got to buy candy. She might have been cutting into somebody else's business at that time, also, who was ever doing it under the table,
possible.
kid wise. But
Well, we've tried to kind of incorporate a couple of different options for Hal Peterson because we do have a beautiful, brand new, amazing building that this community
Yeah.
fit the bill for, and
Right.
it's spectacular. But what we really wanted to focus on was the humans inside.
Yeah, right.
And keeping them happy and making it fun and helping with those experiences because middle school is hard. Middle
It's a
school
transitional
teachers-
time.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard.
Those teachers are ridiculously amazing to put up with all those tweens and teens for so many years.
Oh my God.
And the teens and tweens are also awesome, and they need to be celebrated too.
Yeah.
But we always tag them as middle schoolers.
I think
hard,
we
but
also
they're
sometimes
great.
forget that we went through that
Yeah,
weird
absolutely.
whenever we're the goo and the metamorphosis phase,
Yes.
and you're just kind of you're trying to figure out everything.
Figure out
It's not
your
a fun
place in the-
time.
your place in the world.
Look,
but our
I'm
fundraiser
going to
helps
tell
us
you
do
right
that.
now, if I wrote a biography about my 8th grade year, it would be R-rated. I'm just telling you right now. There were some things that I saw as an 8th grader that these people that go to these meetings would not understand. So, I don't know.
You should go and share.
I should.
You should. I think
Yeah.
that would make those meetings better.
Those 8th grade basketball trips are something else. So anyway, all right.
Our
so-
fundraiser officially kicked off August 1st,
Okay.
and it is community driven.
Yeah.
So we are seeking community sponsors from businesses, local businesses, organizations that want to contribute big. This year we have been blessed with the district's blessing to give some of the old salvaged Tivy High School, Hal Peterson Middle School wood floor from the gymnasium.
Oh, cool.
As a thank you, and they will be made into plaques for those larger donors in the community, and we are super thrilled about that.
That's really cool.
Yeah, as a thank you. So we're very excited to promote that. But also, just for any donation, I mean, we are not going to turn away, $10, $100, whatever you feel.
Any in kind.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
anything, exactly, because we just turn right around and use those for the students and the
Exactly.
kids anyway. So we're thrilled to kick off our fundraiser. We had big high hopes. Last year was the first year we kicked off Save Our Spikes, and we did not make our goal last year. We didn't even make half, but
wow.
it still was amazing.
What's the goal this year?
I did not put a goal number on
Okay.
it because I didn't want,
What's your ideal goal then? Like, if you had a dream goal, what is your dream
if
goal?
my dream goal came true and we didn't have to and we could offer everything that we wanted to for our staff, our students, and our admin in our building, we would need to raise $20,000.
Okay.
I think it's doable.
Yeah, I do too.
I
Right.
did. We came short of 10 last year,
I
which
like this.
was amazing.
I like this.
Yeah,
I like-
it's still money. Yeah, exactly. It still went in the
Absolutely.
bank and it still got used.
It was ridiculous. It was great. It helped offset so many things.
I don't think it's that
hard.
hard to say you want to double 10 grand this year. I think
well,
you can do it.
Really,
We can do it
the
as a
reason-
community.
Yay, I love that. The reason we want to do that is we want to do the things that we did last year plus some, and not have a fee attached to them for our
Right.
students. Like,
Right.
we'd love to have free dances for our kids.
Right.
Yeah.
You're trying to make it accessible.
Yes, we want to provide free T-shirts for our students. We don't want our families to have to buy them. Those things would be wonderful. That's not the case right now,
Yeah.
but it could be, and we're excited and
What's the
hopeful.
deadline?
We did not put a deadline on our general fundraiser. It was a year-round fundraiser
Excellent.
last year, but we primarily need most of our funds this first semester of school.
Okay.
That's why our PTOs are so important.
They are.
Right.
What they do for our teachers and staff,
Yeah.
the morale, as you heard, with the budget tightness, since
Yeah.
we're still funded on 2019 revenue levels,
Yes.
our PTOs and the work they do are really able to open up doors and do things that we are not able to do just
Exactly.
because the funds are so tight.
I
Yeah.
will be so honest. The little things that we do, that we are able to do because of the community's help, because of our individual donors and our family supporters, the smiles that they bring to those teachers, the admin staff, all the way to our custodial, everything is amazing. And I get a lot of thanks personally because I'm on campus a lot. But it really is a group effort. We have a fantastic PTO board this year, 11 fantastic women who have hearts of gold and have lots of dreams and also ambitions. And so we're very excited for this year. So I want to say thank you to everyone on behalf of our entire PTO. It is not just me running the ship, but sometimes I steer it.
A couple of questions for people, and I'm going to throw you guys off because we have Cafe at the Ridge standing by. But how much to donate to get a piece of the Tyvee gym floor? And that is, I think, $500.
I think that's
That's
the
the
minimum.
minimum?
Okay.
Yes, for a piece of and the flooring's a pretty significant piece.
Right.
And
Yeah.
obviously, the larger the donation, the opportunity to have a larger piece
Of
should
course.
somebody want
Yeah.
one.
Of course.
But we have already flagged off several gorgeous pieces that we're
Nice.
very excited about. And yeah, so yes, minimum of $500 Silver Spike sponsor to receive a portion of that salvaged.
And what's the website for this if they wanted to go to it right now?
We don't have everything is because it's just our school. It's our
Okay.
PTO. We have a private Facebook page, but I will start posting some stuff, and I'll share the QR code links with you,
Awesome.
Louis, that you can
Okay.
promote because they can donate electronically. They can also pick up the phone and call the school and or call me direct, and we will certainly get them paper information so
Excellent.
that they can provide their donation that way as well. But we don't have a public site.
No, there was a question that was asked.
Yeah, no worries. But
Yeah.
yeah, please.
So keep an eye out at the lead for ways to
Yes.
support.
We'll send that out here right after this as well. So
And I'll talk to the powers that be to see if we can post something on the KISD Facebook page. Maybe we can share it that way as well.
all right, good deal. Thank you guys for being
I
here.
appreciate you.
Oh,
Thank you so
absolutely.
much.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Yeah, Dr.
T-
Ringo, lovely meeting you.
Nice meeting you and TFND.
Yes.
That's right.
Ready for
I can't
That's
say
right.
that because I'm from Uvalde, but yes,
Yes.
I physically
yes.
can't.
I got you. I got you.
All right.
Thank you,
Thank you
Louis.
guys.
Thank
Next
you.
up, guess what, Leslie? This is exciting. We've got
I know. We're going to talk lemonade.
lemonade.
I'm so excited.
This is going to be the most exciting thing this weekend. Although I realized that I can't. Thank you. Thank you. I don't think I can get out there this week. I'm going to have someone to go out and take some pictures.
We might have to help Jerry.
Yeah.
sorry.
Jerry, you're all
No,
right.
you don't have to apologize.
Yeah.
I've been there. I was about to tell you, girl, I got a knee scooter. You need to borrow it.
Yeah.
I've got one in my car.
Okay.
Yeah.
You'll see me scooting around town and campus.
They're the best. I named mine Ethel, so feel free to name it.
I want my own name. I got it.
Yeah.
Oh, we're getting a selfie.
Give yourself in.
Yeah, all right. Here we go.
Ready?
Yeah, ready. All right, selfie with Dr. Ringo. Thank
Got
you. Catherine Dover, come on too. We got people all over the place. Yes.
It's the place to be.
Dover on the end.
Right here, right
Yes.
now.
Look at all these people. Wait
I
a minute.
know.
You're
Look
not-
how bright
are
and
ya?
colorful this